I'm sitting in a railway station, got a ticket for my destination. Oh.
In a world of changing plans, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band.
This wave is stringing us along, along.
Just know you're not alone, 'cause we're gonna make this place your home.
Every day's an endless stream of busy streets and magazines. Oh.
And each block looks unique to me, museums and the movie scenes. And every stranger's face I see reminds me that I long to be.
Trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. No, you're not alone.
'Cause we're gonna make this place your home.
Where my thoughts escape me, where my music's playing, where my love lies waiting silently for me.
Settle down, it'll all be clear. The trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone.
No, you're not alone.
'Cause we're gonna make this place your home.
Where my music's playing, we're gonna make this place your home.
No, you're not alone.
Where my music's playing, we're gonna make this place our home. Oh, no, you're not alone.
אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש, אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש.
שבתי בבית אדוני, שבתי One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Shivti, me'evet Adonai, Shivti, I'm sitting in a railway station, got a ticket for my destination. Oh,
In a world of changing plans, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band.
This wave is stringing us along.
Just know you're not alone, 'cause we're gonna make this place your home.
every day's an endless stream of busy streets and magazines. Oh,
And each block looks unique to me. Museums and the movie scenes, and every stranger's face I see reminds me that I long to be.
trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. No, you're not alone.
'Cause we're gonna make this place your home.
Where my thoughts escape me, where my music's playing, where my love lies waiting silently for me.
Settle down, it'll all be clear. The trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone.
No, you're not alone.
'Cause we're gonna make this place your home. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And Shana Tova. We are so grateful that we can be gathered together as one community, woven into a single space, whether you are here in our sanctuary or tuning in from spaces around the world. Welcome to Rodeh Shalom. Welcome home. My name is Ben Spratt, and honored to be joined with our entire clergy team in welcoming you into this new year. It's an interesting question to imagine. What is the wisdom, that essential nugget that we each bring into this space in New Year? And what is the bit of wisdom that we're seeking as we enter these High Holy Days? A friend of mine recently shared with me a story of a recent alumnus who, after many years, after graduation, had been invited back to the major university where he had studied and would have the opportunity to be a part of the retirement ceremony of the president. He was honored by this and indeed had the chance to be invited into this private conversation with the university president, and he said, "You know, I have to just offer gratitude. At my graduation, as you were handing me my diploma, you offered me just a few words of wisdom that have come to define my life. In the moments of challenge, in the moments of uplift, in the times where I felt most alone, I came back to those words. And I wanted to come tonight just to say thank you and to make sure you knew how much that meant to me." And the president, she said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful for this. I have to say I'm a bit embarrassed. You see, over the decades, I have presided over dozens and dozens of graduation ceremonies, each with thousands of graduates. I apologize. I wish I could place your name, and I especially wish I knew exactly what I said to you. Would you be willing to relay it to me?" And the man said, "Absolutely. As you were handing me my diploma, you put your hand on my shoulder, gave me a little push, and said, 'Okay, keep moving.'" For many of us, those are the words that we are either petrified of or the very words that we cling to give us hope. Some of us enter this space looking out at a year where we have felt calcified and stuck in a rut, and need those words reminding us that the world is in motion and we ourselves are as well. Some of us have felt terrified by a world that seems to be upended each and every day. And if we could do anything, we wish we could put down our roots and stay right here and right now. We come to Rosh Hashanah in this High Holy Day season, and we are invited to see that just as the seasons are changing, as the world is spinning, no matter what we do, change is inevitable. And we are invited to see ourselves as agents and participants in this great cosmic dance. We invite you, as we begin this High Holy Day season, to bring forward your own intention. For those of us who find ourselves afraid, might we keep going with courage? For those of us holding on to joy and afraid that we will lose it, could we keep going with the belief that we could be the creators of that joy? For those of us who entered this space alone, could we believe that we actually could create the very connections we seek? And for any of us, whether we are new to this space or we are sitting in seats that have been held by our families for generations, for us to feel that a part of this Rodeh Shalom experience means that we do this together. We keep going together. We keep reaching together, and we keep aiming for that pursuit of peace as one congregation. And so as we begin this night, some of you are new to the walls of our sanctuary. Everything will be on the walls. For some of us, we like to have a good old-fashioned book in hand, and we will certainly be guiding you along the way. It is a week early, but I don't know if you noticed that when you woke up this morning, there was a little crisp autumn chill in the air. And with those the changing of seasons, we're going to begin on page 13, reading together. This almost autumn night, the shades of darkness in the sky are signs of Earth's turning, the fleeting ways of nature. And we, drawn together in this holy house, filled with New Year's hope and light, turn our hearts toward you in prayer and worship, seeking life's essence. In the presence of your love, we feel the nearness of those who bless our lives, even in death. Precious memories of their love restore our strength, renew our faith in life's goodness. We acknowledge with gratitude the life you have given us, the bounty that sustains us, your comfort in sickness and sorrow, your compassion in valleys of despair. God of years, God of eternity, bless us now and always. Bless our homes and our families. Be with us in our dreams and in our hopes. Be with us through these days of awe as we search our souls within and seek the lasting shelter of your love. As we kindle now the lights of Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah, it is an honor to invite forward the pillars of our congregation, anyone who has been a member of Rodeh Shalom for 40 years or more. Some are sitting here in the space, some are tuning in from spaces beyond these walls. We want to lift up gratitude. You are the ones, many of you have experienced B'nai Mitzvah here, weddings here, have grieved here, have raised children here, celebrated milestones together. You are the ones who have nurtured and mentored generations of our clergy. You are the ones whose legacy reminds us of the power of belonging and the way that we are woven into a nearly 182-year legacy of those who have given and dedicated themselves to be founders and creators of connection. We are grateful to honor each and every one of you, to be the kindlers of this light, to be the ones that usher in this new year for our entire community.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat v'Shel Yom Tov. Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch Eloheinu melech haolam.
We are grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you. At At this time, it is an honor to invite Peter Frank to the Bima, and an honor to invite the community to please rise as you are able. We continue now on page 15. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol trua amo Yisrael berachamim. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, true voice of your people Israel. Please join me in the first call of the shofar for the new year. Tzekiah. Well, I wonder what the Gedolah is going to be like.
Please remain standing. We turn to page 20 for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Turn to page 22 for we read in English Ma'ariv Aravim together. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your great name fills the universe with majestic might. Your word creates twilight and dusk as your wisdom opens the gate of night. Your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars arrayed across the sky reveal your design. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night.
Umavir yom, mevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvelayla, Adonai, tziva'ot shemo. El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai. Hamariv Aravim.
We continue on page 24 with Ahavat Olam.
Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta.
We continue with the Shema on page 26.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Baruch Shem Kivon Malchuto
You may be seated, and we continue on page 28 with the Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובמלאכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
You have stayed long enough in this place, God said. Time to go forward. Turn your face to the future. Believe that you can cross this sea and survive. Inside you is a Moses. Within you, Miriam dances unafraid. Lift up your voice and sing a new song. The Micha Mocha is on page 34.
מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים זה לי ענו ויאמרו ונאמר כי פד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל
Page 36. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace now until the end of time. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom all over Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu lechayim U'shmor tzedkeinu Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu lechayim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu lechayim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני. הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. Guardian of Israel, preserve the remnant of Israel. Let Israel not perish, we who declare Shema Yisrael. We continue on page 37 with Shomer Yisrael. On Rosh Hashanah, we meditate on the words Hayom Harat Olam. Today the world is born anew. And as this sacred day intersects with Shabbat, we join together to meditate and pray upon the awe, the mystery, and the sacred rest our tradition associates with creation. Each Shabbat we sing the words of Vishamru. On the seventh day, God stopped and breathed a new soul into the world. That new soul, the heart of our worship, this era of Rosh Hashanah. So we continue with Vishamru on page 38.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Brit Olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael
continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 40.
Vishirata, Tushmechata, Vinechemata.
In just a moment, I'll invite us to rise for the Amidah. This will be the first Amidah of 5784 that we recite as a community. You'll notice in a familiar prayer, there are a couple of new pieces of liturgy, a couple of additions because it is Rosh Hashanah. And I think these prayers, those extra words, are there not only to sanctify this moment of the holiday and to sanctify the start of a new year, but also because they remind us that we can't pray these prayers on autopilot. What if we approached these prayers as if we were looking at them for the first time? Though many of us have said these words for years, for decades even, and find meaning in them, what would it look like to approach these as if we had never seen them before, and to look for new meaning in them as we start a new year together? I invite you to rise as you are able as we continue with the Amidah on page 42.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agite yilatecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agite yilatecha.
Pray.
שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Adonai. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor ve'anora Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'gonei HaKol Mezocher Chazdei Avot V'imahot U'mevi Gevula Livnei Bneihem Leman Shemo Be'ava Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Me'ezrat Sarah אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד אתה מחר כל חיים בחסד ונאמן אתה על החיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally, your God Zion for all generations. Hallelujah. Page 55.
קדוש, קדוש אתה ונורא שמך. ואין אלוה מבלעדיך. אדוני צבאות במשפט. והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה. ברוך אתה אדוני. המלך, המלך הקדוש, אמן.
Now we continue on page 55.
זוכרנו אדוני אלוהינו בו לטובה.
אמן.
ופוקדנו בו לברכה.
אמן.
והושיענו בו לחיים.
Amen. Eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Be mindful of us.
Amen.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn now to those who are in need of healing. We think of those who are in need of a physical healing or something less physical that we can't see, something spiritual, mental, or emotional. We think of those we know. We think of those around the world we don't know. As we bring their names to our hearts, we think of all of them as we pray together the words of Mishaberach, our prayer for healing. Misha Berach is on page 245. Together we say, Amen.
Amen.
We continue on page 60.
קרוב לכל קורב פני אליו עבדך וחוננו שפוך רוחך
Let's see.
Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace on page 66.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata umelech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata umelech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael mechol leit v'chol shalom b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. M'sefer Chaim, Bracha v'shalom, Ufarnasa tova. Nizacher v'nikatev levanecha, אנחנו וכל עמך מת ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
This is a sermon about a radical and obvious idea. It's deeply Jewish, evidenced throughout history, and it challenges some of our most foundational modern beliefs. It speaks to the divisiveness of our times, offers hope for our future, and is, I believe, the singularly most important concept for America today. But I'm not ready to share the idea just yet. The first Bible story I remember learning as a child was the Tower of Babel. Here's the story as I recall learning it. All of humanity lived in one place. With hubris and a desire for conquest, humanity banded together to build a tower tall enough to reach the skies and sought to rule all the heavens and the earth. As punishment, God destroyed the tower, scattered humanity to each speak different languages and be unable to work together again. The lesson? We are naturally haughty and power-hungry and need to be made vulnerable to learn the importance of humility. It's a clear story with a pithy point. And for this fort-building boy who dreamed of seeing what lay beyond the clouds, it encouraged keeping my feet firmly on the ground. The only trouble, it isn't actually the story of Babel at all. If you go and turn to the Torah, and feel free to take any translation you wish, you'll find a very different tale that casts a very different understanding of humanity. We read, "The people said, 'Let us build a city and a tower with its top in the sky, and shape a name, else we shall be scattered over all the world.' God came down to look at the city and tower that humanity had built, and God said, 'If as one people with one language for all, this is how they've begun to build, then nothing that they may dream to do will be out of their reach. Let us go down and confound their speech there, so that they shall not understand one another.' Thus God scattered them from there over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building the city." That is, humanity joined together to create shared sanctuary from division and isolation. And in so doing, they held such potency together that God feared they could achieve anything. It's not the story of hubris, but articulates humanity's ideal state. We are meant to be together. The trouble is, we often tell the wrong story. In 1954, Nobel Prize-winning British author William Golding published Lord of the Flies. The book focuses on a group of British boys stranded on an uninhabited island and their disastrous attempts to govern themselves. In showcasing the brutality of the boys when divorced from civilization, it portrayed the thin veil of society that keeps our basest instincts at bay. Early reviews hailed Golding for his courageous realism, and for tens of millions of Americans, this novel remains required middle school reading. The trouble with the book is that Golding had no background in developmental psychology. And for the past 70 years, countless studies have suggested the opposite understanding of human nature. Preschoolers are naturally cooperative, and teens actually tend towards generosity and altruism when given opportunity to be in charge. Just over a decade after the publication of Lord of the Flies, a real-world example arose of 8 teenage boys shipwrecked on a remote island for 18 months. When they were finally discovered and rescued, they had naturally formed a collaborative community and were described as healthy and thriving together. Just a few years after my own reading of Lord of the Flies, I first encountered the infamous shock experiments of Dr. Stanley Milgram. As many may recall, Stanley Milgram was a Jewish psychologist who became an instant celebrity at age 28, as he found that 65% of subjects would be willing to deliver lethal doses of electric shock to strangers simply by being told to do so by a person of authority. The results of Milgram's experiments blanketed headlines all around the globe, positing that it takes very little to push people into the depths of depravity. However, 60 years later, much about these studies has been upended. A decade after the study was published, Milgram noted that only half of the participants actually believed the shocks were real. And one of Milgram's assistants then came forward and noted that the vast majority of people who actually believed the shocks were real chose to quit the experiment and were therefore not included in the data. In his personal journal, which is now available to the public, Milgram himself reflected, quote, "Whether all this ballyhoo points to significant science or merely effective theater is an open question, I am inclined to accept the latter interpretation." If there is one belief that has been predominant for centuries, it is the tacit assumption that humans are selfish, evil, and seeking to rule over everyone else. It's a notion that drives newspaper headlines, TV shows, and movies, and guides many of the laws that shape our lives. I posit that, at best, this story of humanity is incomplete, and at worst, it is completely and utterly incorrect. Our Torah paints a very different picture of people. Created in the image of God, our sacred text imagines a world of chaos brought to order by both divinity and humanity. From the cosmic to the personal, we encounter a universe of interconnectedness. Our perspective moves through Genesis into the later books by elevating attention from the fate of one individual and into a collective perspective. The nation will rise or sink together. The future will be inherently shared. Everything we do, from how we eat to the clothes we wear, from how we treat a mother bird to how we engage in war, everything ripples with shared significance. Our biblical tradition moves this assumption of cosmic interconnectedness then into an ethic. Justice could not be bought by the rich, nor should the poor remain impoverished. The blessings of one were commanded to be the blessings shared by all. The marginalized were to be included in all communal consciousness. Addressed as a nation, the Israelites were given a worldview in which each person was tethered to the next. In fate, in behavior, no individual was left isolated on an island, nor any choice disconnected from the collective. At a time when we watch the collapse of civil discourse, the bloom of bifurcation and political tribalism, such a consciousness seems but a distant dream. For many of us, we feel all of this in the most personal of ways. We have lost friendships and even familial connections. We have boycotted news sources and websites. Some of us have felt marginalized in silence, and others perhaps emboldened and heard. But whatever landscape of reality once invited us to find shared ground of humanity is now diminished. And for many of us, as we look across the country, across party lines, across the pew, we find only allies or enemies, a binary battle of belief. In our divisions, we have largely lost a sense of hope and belief in humanity that might actually unify us. As Dr. Yuval Noah Harari captured prophetically, people feel bound by democracy only when they share a basic bond with most other voters. If the experience of other voters is alien to me, and if I believe they don't understand my feelings and don't care about my vital interests, then even if I'm outvoted by 100 to 1, I have absolutely no reason to accept the verdict. Democratic elections usually work only within populations that favor some prior common bond, such as shared religious beliefs or national myths. Elections are a method to settle disagreements among people who already agree on the basics. According to Pew Research, the political partisan polarization today is wider than it has been since 1879, the earliest year for which there is data. Prior to that, facing a nation of division, President Abraham Lincoln addressed the Wisconsin State Agricultural Society in 1859. Even the person of the highest moral cultivation likes the person he does know much better than the person he does not know. To correct the evils, great and small, that spring from want of sympathy among strangers, as nations or as individuals, is one of the highest functions of civilization. To this end, our agricultural fairs contribute in no small degree. They make more pleasant and more strong and more durable the bond of social and political union among us. In the face of division, our greatest antidote is to come together, to create the space for encounter with one another, to imagine the stranger not as our enemy and the neighbor as one with whom we share an entwined fate, to imagine together a dream towards which we might all orient, one altered and reimagined by living with other people. In such relationship, we may begin to see rhythms fall into synchrony and an order that emerges organically because another expands our awareness. This is the heart of our tradition. Towards the end of the Torah, God raises a vision for the idealized future, Yachad Shiftei Yisrael, that all the tribes of Israel will stand in unity. Our early rabbis try to understand the meaning of this image, noting the constant conflict between the tribes and the Torah continuing to address each tribe as its own identity. What, they ask, does unity really mean? The rabbis define it as agudah, as a cluster or collective, not a homogeneous group, but a collection of difference into some larger identity and story. One of our sages illustrated it this way, a parable. A person brought two ships and stationed them in the middle of the sea and bound them together. The person then built a palace upon the decks of the two ships. As long as the two ships are tied to each other, the palace stands firm. But once the ships are separated, the palace cannot stand. And so it is with people. If we are each autonomous vessels, the question needs to be asked, to what degree will I be bound so a palace may be built? And to what degree do I believe that the only way such a palace can be constructed is by being tethered with others? Do I care enough about communal unity to be tied to you? And do you care enough to be tied to me? Our Torah begins with the understanding that in our origins, we worked together, shaping Babel with such ability that anything was achievable. The rest of the Torah is about a dispersed and divided people learning to return to this great building project, to stand as an agudah, as a collective, and reclaim being builders of a great palace of possibility. Which brings me to the radical and obvious idea. We are meant to be together. And this congregation, this space, this is the grand experiment to reclaim this heart of humanity. Community. This is the most potent response to fear, to fragility, to division. In tying together our boats, we see a wisdom that ripples out not only from our tradition, but every corner of our world. From diversified stock portfolios to the magic of an orchestra, from a stellar soccer team to the most effective government body, the agudah, the collective, joined together with shared purpose, is our most powerful and pragmatic way to exist. The trouble with community is that it doesn't just happen. It requires of each person to actively tie and tether ourselves to others. It's the choice to show up, to give of oneself, and in return be nourished and protected and made more effective. What if we came to services, not simply for the purpose of prayer, but to live out the ethic of community so we could encounter someone different than ourselves? What if we attended a class not only for the sake of learning, but to knit together new bonds and connections of understanding? What if we volunteered at Backpack Buddies, not only to support food-insecure children, but but to shape a practice of shared responsibility. What if we joined a minyan, one of our small groups, as our most effective response to this time of divisiveness, and ourselves became a conduit of new connection? Kindness is catching. Community is contagious. And during these high holy days, our liturgy winks at us again and again with this wisdom. Throughout our prayers, we don the collective perspective. We own misdeeds as our shared responsibility. We elevate our hopes as our shared blessing. We rise and we sit as one. And tonight, we've added an additional experiment as we have woven one large and diverse community into a single space, our beloved sanctuary. Many of us have experienced disruption by being here tonight. Some of us enter here for the first time, reaching to feel like it's home. Some of us have sat for generations in the same seats in this space and have brought flexibility to enable others to share these pews tonight. Others have spent years experiencing the holiest of days here at Rodeh Shalom and other spaces of this building, and now are nimbly trying to feel anchored in this space here tonight. And still others of us are tuning in from spaces all around the world, trying to feel a gateway between living room and sanctuary. And just as we will end this High Holy Day season as one congregation out there on 83rd Street, we begin these days as a united community, as a collective, each giving towards the grand experiment of how we stand stronger when woven together. At the conclusion of each book of the Torah, as we prepare to begin the next, Jewish communities rise as one and declare together, Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Be strong, and together we will be strengthened. A communal anthem invites each of us, all of us, to find shared words and sentiment echoed in myriad timbres and accents. We imagine each person affirming strength to one another, united under this shared fate. To quote the wise women from the series Call the Midwife, we cannot predict what the fates will bring. We can only find strength and hope and survival in each other. There will be new dreams one day. There will be reasons to go on. Let in that truth. Embrace the real. Open your arms to the things you did not look for you will find what you did not seek, be given what you did not know you lacked, and be lavished with a joy that takes your breath away. Here are life's riches next to you. Here in the faces of your friends and the laughter of their children and the tenderness of those you love and work and live with. This community is our end and our beginning. This is the best of everything we are. From the very beginning, this has been humanity's aim. And this community is the radical idea to realize it. Shana Tova.
I am delighted to invite up our honorees for opening the Ark, Juju Chang and Neil Shapiro, and your children, Travis, Mason, and Gerard, and the Gleiberman family, Carlson, Joe, Sarah, and Mars. Please rise as you're able to. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence, for you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation.
We call you Avinu. As a loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings. Accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu. As sovereign of our souls, help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves and you. Avinu Malkeinu, on page 76.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, Me'alol aleinu. V'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kotveinu, Mesefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
We read together on page 77 in English. Avinu Malkeinu, mighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, mighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein bano masi. Asei Mailu, chesed v'hoshienu. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu malkeinu, choneinu vaneinu. Avinu malkeinu, choneinu vaneinu, ki ein mano masi.
Please remain standing for the Aleinu on page 82.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Build me up of memory, loving and angry, tender and honest. Let my loss build me a heart of wisdom, compassion for the world's many losses. Each hour is mortal, and each hour is eternal, and each house is our testament. May I create worthy memories all the days of my life. At this Erev Rosh Hashanah service that also converges with Erev Shabbat, we call to mind and call to heart the legacies of those we love who have died. In our community, we invite you, if you hear the name of a loved one and wish to rise in their honor, affirming your presence here. You can also enact a ritual of memorial by placing stone on slate at the 2 stations in the front of the room. We begin with those recently departed, those in our community who have died in the last 7 days, the period of Shiva, in the last 30 days, the period of Shloshim. We are remembering David Perman, Gabriel Brodsky, Mikhail Krantz, Roberta Neufeld, Barbara Weinberg, Sylvia Chatsanoff, Ola Wittick, Lucian Lopez, Calvin Lopez, Edison Lopez, Kathy Goldman, Louise Rosen, Myron Zajac, Robin Janecki. Is anyone else in the synagogue this evening in the period of Shiva or Shloshim? Is anyone in the period of Shana, the first year of mourning? And we remember those whose yahrzeits we honor this Shabbat. Lorraine Abramson, Libby Edelman, Alice Alpert, Harry Alpert, Esther Amsterdam, David Appel, Abraham W. Ast, Rosalie Austin, George Bader, Leah Barron, Sam Berman, Sylvia Berman, Donald Bernstein, Nancy Bernstein, Aviva Blumberg, Morton Brenner, Samuel Diner, Louise Fagenblatt, Julius A. Feinberg, Francis Feldman, Dora Felt, Sam Filler, Max Fine, Florence Fox, Charles Friedman, Philippine Friedeberg, Henry Friedman, Max Friedman, Anna Fredericks, Sarah Jane Fuchs, Lee Greisman, Mildred Groden, J. David Harris, Irving Hershkowitz, Jenny Hirschhorn, Henry J. Jacoby, Molly Kahn, Mordechai Kahn, Gertrude Kaplan, Bobby Katzenstein, Julius Kraus, Toby Kronish, Joseph Lerner, Meyer P. Lerner, Israel Levine, Dora Lieberman, Sandra G. Lipton, Ethel Lobel, Pincus Lowenfeld, Dorothy Cashel, Lundeen, Juliet Mannheimer, Sophia Merer, Selma G. Myers, Florence Miller, Shirley Mock, Santa Moritz, Augusta Pincus, Morris Ploskow, Samuel Richelieu, Stanley Rossner, Bernard Rossau, David Rosen, Milton Sam, Louis Sirkin, Arthur Smook, Babette Hoffheimer Sonneborn, Paul Stern, Teresa Stern, Violet Stern, Joseph Tabak, Sophie Tanzer, Daniel Paul Tansman, Bernice Tomasis, Linda Wax, Estelle Relkin-Wagman, Florence Wender, Irving Wyman, Paula Winkler, Esther Yasser, Michael F. Udovin. We invite you as a community to hold in your hearts anyone that you are remembering as you cross this precipice into a new year. May you be rooted in their memories and in your love. We invite the community to please rise as you are able in sympathy and in fellowship for the mourner's Kaddish on page 90. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayed chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv imru amen Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kucha b'richu le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Hosei shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be a blessing. We invite the community to please remain standing as you are able as we turn to Kiddush for Rosh Hashanah on page 79.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bachar banu mikol olam from matanu mikol ashon v'kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ava et yom haShabbat hazeh v'et yom hazikaron hazeh yom zichron teruah be'ava mikra kodesh zecher tziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol amim u'devarech ha'emet v'kayam la'ad Baruch atah Adonai melech kol haaretz mekadesh haShabbat v'Yisrael v'yom hazikaron Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh
We are moving toward the conclusion of our Erev Rosh Hashanah services. There are a few announcements, so I'll invite you, if you need a rest, you can be seated, and warn you that we will be getting you back up in a moment. Tomorrow we are going to welcome you back, we hope, for Rosh Hashanah, the first day services. There should be a schedule appearing on the wall, magically. And this Sunday morning we'll observe the second day of Rosh Hashanah, and then we will make our way after the services together as one community to do Tashlich in Central Park and unburden ourselves of anything from 5783 that we don't want to carry with us into 5784. You'll notice the bags from City Harvest are on your seats. We invite you either to take that with you and fill it up during this week and bring it back on Yom Kippur on Monday, September 25th, to fill up our annual truck with food. But if that is inconvenient, then of course you can go on to our website and find other modes of contributing to the food drive that aren't so heavy. And we invite you to do whatever it is that works for you. We also want to remind you that Minyan, those amazing groups, how we tether ourselves to one another in community that Rabbi Spratt spoke about, Minyan Initiative will be launching. Please look into groups. Those signups begin on September 27th. Find your group, find people to tether and build palaces with. It's a beautiful opportunity to start the new year. And then in December of 2024, which sounds far away, but is not, we are returning to Israel, our senior clergy. If you've been a million times, if you haven't been before, you've never been on a trip quite like this. So we urge you to attend the information session on October 4th to learn more about the trip, and then to be sure to sign up quickly if you want to, because our trips do fill up. We want to acknowledge that there is another service happening in this building right now for 20s and 30s. This is the first time we've been able to gather more than 100 120s and 30s in the building from the community to help welcome Rosh Hashanah with us. And we are so grateful that if they are choosing to spend their Rosh Hashanah with us, I want to now take the opportunity, Peter Frank, to call you to the bima as we prepare to hear the shofar one more time. And finally, as the service concludes, after your clergy team has the opportunity to offer you blessing for the new year, we invite you to remain standing and remain in your seats so that the clergy team can process out through the aisle. Thank you all. We're going to invite you to please rise as you are able.
May God bless us and keep us safe as we open ourselves to the possibilities of this new year. May God's face shine upon us and be gracious to us. And as we lift our faces and see that we are surrounded, knitted together into one large tapestry that goes back generation after generation, may we feel a call of purpose that has fueled those before us and enabled each and every one of us to stand here in strength. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. May we, each of us, be strengthened as we enter this new year to shape it with blessing. Please join me in the call of the shofar. We're going to make it challenging for Peter. Let's make this a Gedolah. Here we go. Tekiah Gedolah. Shana Tova, everyone.